What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of DevTalks with your host Travian. We talk about everything engineering and technology wise. This video, we got some AI news. This AI news is basically advice for AI beginners. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to dive into, but this is on Lex Fridman's podcast. I've seen some of his clips before, they all seem great. So we're just going to dive into the video, kind of see what they have to say about AI. And do I agree with their points? Yes or no? We'll find out. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I really appreciate all of it. It helps out, it's free, and it helps the algorithm so that we can continue to grow and build a better community out here. And now let's dive in.
You said what it takes to be a great AI researcher. Can we rewind the clock back? What advice would you give to people interested in AI? They're young, looking forward. How can I make an impact on the world?
I think my number one piece of advice is to just start playing with the models.
Yeah.
This was actually, I worry a little. This seems like obvious advice now. I think 3 years ago, it wasn't obvious. And people started by, oh, let me read the latest reinforcement learning paper. Let me kind of, no, I mean, that was really and I mean, you should do that as well. But now, with wider availability of models and APIs, people are doing this more. But I think just experiential knowledge. These models are new artifacts that no one really understands. And so getting experience playing with them. I would also say, again, in line with the do something new, think in some new direction. There are all these things that haven't been explored. Like, for example, mechanistic interpretability is still very new. It's probably better to work on that than it is to work on new model architectures because it's more popular than it was before. There are probably 100 people working on it, but there aren't 10,000 people working on it. And it's this fertile area for study. There's so much low hanging fruit. You can just walk by and you can pick things. And the only reason, for whatever reason, people aren't interested in it enough. I think there are some things around long horizon learning and long horizon tasks where there's a lot to be done. I think evaluations we're still very early in our ability to study evaluations, particularly for dynamic systems acting in the world. I think there's some stuff around multi-agent. Skate where the puck is going is my advice.
So one thing that I want to agree with first, I feel like it depends on the kind of learner you are, obviously. Some people can read a book and learn a lot more without doing anything besides that. Some people can visualize and see how something's functioning. Some people learn by doing. So for myself, right, I pick up quickly on hearing something and watching it. I can learn how to do something kind of by watching it, and then when it finally clicks is when I do it. In everything in repetition, everything I learn that I want to say I completely learn how to do it is when I do it and then I do it again. Once you do it that second, third time, you've learned how to do something. I would say. It all comes with repetition and stuff. So if you want to learn how to use these AI tools, hey, use it a bunch, then you learn how to use it. But does that teach you about AI? No, not really. It just teaches you how to use the particular models that are given to you. It doesn't give you more of a deep dive. So now how do you do this? You have to do your own research. Research further into it. If you have a specific model, and this is what I would say my advice would be, because I feel like you going, if you're talking about AI beginners, I don't know who Dario Monde is. If you're thinking about beginners, what is something that you want to tell a beginner something to do in AI? Hey, yes, it is good to play around with these different models just to see what you could get out of it. On top of that, if you're interested in a specific model, look into it more. Hey, how can you replicate this model? What is a model? Yeah, I feel like there's a lot that you have to understand about AI first. Look up what is actually artificial intelligence in AI first. Look up what is an AI model. How are AI models used? How can you differentiate between different models and stuff like that? We're not going in here. Everybody in the public that started using ChatGPT doesn't understand what models are. They just know the terminology. You don't know everything that goes into it as a whole. You need to break apart what it is first, and then go back into it. Yes, it's good to play around and test them all out and everything and just get used to it, but that doesn't grow your skill set in AI. You're doing what everybody else is doing in it. There's people who aren't as engineering, like, I don't want to say engineering inclined, but architecturally inclined in that space. I'll probably say, like, they don't know all the ins and outs and working pieces of it. They're not AI engineers and stuff. And one of the things I want to get into is the future of engineering and AI engineers in the first place, because I've been talking about this all year and we need to end the year on a strong note. So we're going to dive into that. But what more can we get out of these models, and learning further into them is more than just doing. So I don't fully agree with everything he says, and some of what he's saying, especially for beginners. Mind you, this is supposed to be advice for the video link. What I'll leave in the description below is AI advice for beginners. Now you tell me, if you're a beginner, how much you were confused on half of what you heard so far. I would say you were.
Advice, and you don't have to be brilliant to think of it. Like, all the things that are going to be exciting in 5 years, like in people even mention them as, like, you know, conventional wisdom, but like it's just somehow there's this barrier that people don't double down as much as they could, or they're afraid to do something that's not the popular thing. I don't know why it happens, but like getting over that barrier is that's my number one piece of advice.
So yeah, getting around to getting to know the product is such a big barrier to get across first. I guess kind of right. Like, the first thing to do is that, but I wish there was more deeper of a explanation of what to do besides just playing around with these models. I don't fully agree with it, but maybe I'm wrong. So if I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments. If you like the way that I try to articulate it, let me know. If you want me to dive deeper into steps on how to get deeper dive focuses in specific engineering groups, then let me know in the comments down below. And I appreciate any comments that you guys have to say. Appreciate any subscription, but I'm actually really curious about that point. If you thought that was good advice for a beginner that knows nothing about AI and they want to get into it, let me know if you thought that was good advice or not. For me, I'd say it wasn't exactly. There needs to be a little bit more. You gotta tell them a little bit more what to do with it, and not use such not broad language, fairly such niche language. You have to use it a little bit broader as well until they can figure out some of these niche things, and so they're able to understand this languages more too. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share. It really helps out the algorithm, and it helps out the channel. Really appreciate it. And if you want to see more videos like this, just click one of the ones that pops up right about now. And peace. See you guys in the next one.